Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good day everyone. I am Farhan A. Mayaman from the Group 8 or Presenter 1. So today we will be discussing the gender theories. Previously, we discussed about the LGBTQIA+ community. So today we will be discussing the gender theories. On gender theories, we'll be focusing on gender stereotyping, perpetuating patriarchy and the female body exploitation. Judith Butler goes far as to argue that the gender as an objective natural things does not exist. So gender reality is performance, which means quite simply that is the real only to the extent that is performed. So Butler posits that the gender is performance that is enacted by the people to establish their identity. So Butler argues that the gender isn't a natural or a fixed trait, but rather something people perform through their actions and behaviors. In other words, gender becomes a real through the way people express and enact their daily lives. So sinasabi ni Butler na ang kasarian ay hindi isang likas or permanenteng katangian, sa halip ito ay isang bagay na isinasagawa ng mga tao sa pamamagitan ng kanilang mga kilos o asal. Sa madaling salita, nagiging totoo ang kasarian dahil sa paraan ng pagpapahayag at pagkilos ng mga tao sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. Let's proceed on the second slide. So, patriarchy refers to a set of institutional structures like property rights, access to positions of power, relationship to the sources of incomes that are based on the belief that the man and woman are dichotomous and unequal categories. The key to patriarchy is what might be called the dominant gender ideology towards sexual differences, the assumption that psychological sex differences between males and females are related to differences in their character, behavior, and ability, such as gender. In simplest, patriarchy is a system where men hold more power and control over things like property, jobs, income, based on the belief that the man and woman are naturally different and unequal. So this system relies on the idea that the physical differences between men and women lead to a different abilities and roles in society. So patriarchy is kung saan ang mga lalaki ay mas makapangyarihan or mas kontrolado ang bawat ari-arian or mga gaya ng sa trabaho at mga income. So pinaniniwalaan na magkaiba at hindi pantay-pantay ang mga lalaki at mga babae. So ang sistemang ito ay nakabatay lamang sa ideya na ang physical true physical na pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng mga lalaki at babae ay umahantong sa iba't ibang kakayahan or papel sa lipunan. How is the gender portrayed in popular culture? So men are portrayed as more assertive or aggressive, adventurous, active, and victorious, while women are shown as passive, weak, ineffective, victimized, supportive, and lovable. So basically, men are often depicted as strong, bold, and successful, while women are shown as weak, dependent, and submissive. So ang mga lalaki ay madalas na pinapakita nito ay katapangan or pagiging agresibo or aktibo, at minsan ay sila pa yung mga madaling makakamit ng tagumpay. Habang ang mga babae ay pinapakita nila ay kahinahan or minsan ay walang magawa or sila minsan yung minsan ay nabibiktima or taga-suporta lamang at minsan ay ginagawang katatawanan. What is gender role stereotype in media? So depicting men in professional roles more often while depicting women in non-working recreational roles, especially in the countries that show high gender inequalities. So basically, in other countries with high gender inequality, men are often shown in a professional jobs, or while women are mostly shown at home or doing leisure activities. So sa mga ibang bansa na matataas na gender inequality is minsan yung mga lalaki sila yung may nakikita sa mga bawat trabaho, sila yung mas nagtatrabaho or may kakayanan na magtrabaho habang ang mga babae ay nakikita lamang sa kanilang mga bahay at ginagawa ang mga gawaing bahay at minsan ay gumagawa ng mga kalibangan lamang. So let's proceed on gender stereotyping. So gender stereotyping involves assigning rules, attributes, or behaviors to individuals based on solely on their gender. These stereotypes often perpetuate outdated and simplistic ideas about what is considered appropriate or typical for men and women, limiting individual expression and opportunities. So basically, gender stereotyping means making assumption about how people should behave or what rules that they should have they should have because of their gender. So these assumptions are often based on old-fashioned and oversimplified ideas about men and women are supposed to do. So this restrict from people from expressing themselves fully and can limit their chances to do different things in life. So basically, yung gender typing is para siyang discrimination through the ability of individuals through the ability of different gender like man and woman. So ang gender stereotyping is yung rules or pagtatakda ng mga papel or ginagampanan ng isang gender. So ito ay batay lamang sa kasarian. So ang stereotyping ay madalas nagpapatuloy ng lumang pananaw or yung simplistic ideas kung ano yung itinuturing na nararapat or karaniwan na ginagawa ng babae at lalaki. So minsan ay nagbabawal ito sa mga individual na may pahayag ang kanilang mga sarili or to express themselves and maabala ang loss of minsan yung oportunidad na ma-explain nila yung feelings nila or their thoughts because of their through their gender. As you can see on the table, these are the examples of gender stereotyping. So basically, girls are more fragile. So, minsan yung mga babae sila yung minsan nakikita lamang sa mga bahay or tinatawag or kinukulong lang or hindi gaano lumalabas. So girls are interested in fashion, the arts, and boys. So yung mga babae, gender stereotyping sa kanila is they are more interested in fashion and arts at saka mahilig sila sa mga lalaki. So girls are perfectionist and better at housework. So yung mga babae talaga is they are more perfectionist than men. So they are see as sila yung mga magagaling sa housework. Then girls are good with language. Sila yung magagaling through speaking or having communication to other people. So boys to boys naman is boys don't cry. Yun yung gender stereotyping na ang mga lalaki ay hindi umiiyak. So, boys like video games and sports. So, as you can see, the boys talaga is they are ano sila, video games at saka they're into sports. So, yun yung stereotyping na ang mga lalaki ay may mga ganitong characters. So, boys are more disorderly and less meticulous doing household. So, basically, yung mga lalaki daw is sila yung mga hindi gaano meticulous or tinatawag din minsan na mga tamad because hindi nila minsan nagagampanan yung gampanin nila sa kanilang mga tahanan or sila yung minsan na hindi mautusan or makikita minsan kasi yung mga lalaki is stereotyping na talaga yung mga lalaking hindi nag-arrange ng kanilang mga kwarto or minsan di gaano tumutulong sa bahay at saka hindi malinis sa kanilang mga hindi organized, kumbaga hindi organized yung hindi sila organized na tao or yun yung gender stereotyping. So, boys are good at math. Yun naman yung stereotyping na kapag lalaki is magaling talaga sa math. So, there is a gender stereotypes in advertising. So, sa home care products and the household, housewife stereotype. Female body exploitation, stereotyping beauty or basically and beauty products. So stereotyping to masculinity. Gender stereotypes in advertising are simplified, often exaggerated beliefs about how men and women should behave or appear. So examples is including portraying women mainly as homemakers and advertisement for home care products. So using female bodies to sell products and promoting narrow ideas of beauty through beauty ads or advertisement and depicting men and stereotypically masculine roles. These stereotypes can reinforce traditional gender roles and limit how people perceive themselves and others. So, sa gender stereotypes sa advertisement, minsan kasi is napapansin natin na kapag mga beauty products talaga is mostly yung nagiging model or nagiging gumaganap is babae sa mga beauty products, and that is basically a stereotyping. So, kapag yung mga lalaki naman is minsan sa mga action movies na din is mga lalaki talaga yung gumaganap, mostly lalaki yung gumaganap sa mga action movies or action series or anything basta based on actions. At saka napapansin nyo din ba na kapag ang mga babae talaga is kapag may mga advertisement na mga about appliances or mga anything na gamit sa bahay is mostly babae talaga. So that is a very stereotyping sa advertising or sa media. Limitado lang yung mga lalaki na nag-advertise ng mga appliances or mga gamit or mga extras na mga mga appliances talaga. Basically, there's also stereotyping sa mga lalaki din. So minsan yung mga lalaki is nasa stereotype sila na bakit lang nagfo-focus yung mga lalaki sa panglalaki lang na advertisement kung pwede rin din naman silang makilahok sa mga iba pang advertisement. Let's proceed on perpetuating patriarchy. So perpetuating patriarchy refers to actions, beliefs, or systems that sustain the dominance of man over women in various aspects of society. This can include reinforcing traditional gender rules, maintaining male privilege, and resisting efforts to achieve gender equality. So perpetuating patriarchy means continuing to support where men have a power and control than women in society. So this includes also keeping traditional gender rules unchanged, or ensuring men have the advantages, and opposing efforts to make men and women more equal. So basically, yung perpetuating patriarchy is yung sinusuportahan lamang natin yung mga kalalakihan than other women, because of the power and control na dapat yung lalaki is sila talaga yung mas kontrolado at may otoridad o kapangyarihan sa isang society. So basically yung perpetuating patriarchy also is very traditional, or yung traditional na nangyayari sa ating society because they are more privileged. So sila yung may pribilehiyo na makilahok sa lahat ng bagay. So abang ang babae lamang ay higit na maliit na karapatan or pantay na karapatan ang mga kababaihan na makilahok sa lahat ng bagay. So, halimbawa nito ay yung mga babae noon ay hindi sila maaring bumoto or makilahok sa politika. So habang lumilipas ang panahon, ang mga babae lamang ay gumawa ng isang protesta or rally na ang mga kababaihan ay maaari ding makilahok sa lahat ng bagay. So kaya nga nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag na feminist women empowerment or feminism system. So base dito na ang mga lalaki ay dapat sila yung may malaking kapangyarihan or kontrolado lahat ng lipunan kaysa sa mga babae. Kasama rito ang pagpapanatili ng mga traditional na roles or roles na kanilang rules of gender rules, or pagbibigay ng o pagtutol sa mga akbang na naglalayong magkaroon ng pantay na karapatan ang mga babae at ang mga lalaki. Perpetuating patriarchy is deeply ingrained in the consciousness of Filipino men and women through the socialization process they got from the various social institutions such as the family, religion, the educational system, mass media, and the sciences. So patriarchy was introduced with the unfortunate arrival of the Spaniard colonizers. The Spaniard restructured indigenous Philippine society, delegating and confining women to the home to take care of the family and do household chores. Patriarchy in the Filipino society means that the men are generally hold more power and authority than women. So this unequal power dynamic is learned and reinforced through family upbringing and religious teachings, schools, media, and cultural norms. So historically, patriarchy in the Philippines was strengthened during the Spanish colonization. The Spanish introduced the cultural norms that limited women's rules to domestic tasks and caring for the family, while men are expected to take leadership roles outside the home. This restructuring of society by the colonizers entrenched the gender inequalities that continue to influence Filipino society today. So, yung patriarchy during the in Philippine settings is basically umusbong siya nung panahon ng mga Kastila or ang during the Spanish colonization, na ang mga lalaki is they are more powerful or the authority to take to take lead the society. Yung mga kababahian naman is they're more limited to take responsibility when it comes to domestic. So basically yung nung panahon ng mga Espanyol is ang namumuno lamang talaga ay ang mga lalaki sa sa labas ng tahanan or maging sa society. So yung mga ganitong pagbabago sa lipunan ay nagpatibay ng mga pagkakaibang kasarian. So patuloy na nag-apekto sa lipunang Pilipino hanggang sa kasalukuyan. So basically yung patriarchy talaga is very rampant siya at up until now. There still exists yung patriarchy dito sa Pilipinas. Male dominance perpetuates beliefs and practices or cultural norms that whether consciously or unconsciously favor man over woman. And these beliefs are not just held by man, but by the majority of people and the society, whatever their gender. So, male dominance means that the man hold power and influence in society compared to women. This leads to cultural beliefs and norms that often favor men, whether people realize it or not. These beliefs are not only held by the man, but also many people in other societies that regardless of the gender. The situation can perpetuate inequalities between men and women in a various aspects of life. So basically, yung male dominance talaga is more men are empowered than men. A woman is minsan is nagkakaroon ng compared between man and woman because of the cultural norms and beliefs. And these beliefs are not only held by men but also many other in society. So yung paniniwalang ito is instilled na sa mga tao na regardless of gender is more prominent or dominant yung mga lalaki. So let's proceed to the female body exploitation. So female body exploitation involves using women's bodies for profit, manipulation, or power often in ways that are demeaning or objectifying. This can occur in the media, advertising, labor, or other contexts where women's bodies are treated as commodities rather than being respected as individuals. So, female body exploitation means using bodies to make money. So, gain control and influence others, usually in ways that disrespect or degrade them. This happens basically mostly or in the media, ads or advertisement, basically in work or other places that where women are seen as an object to be used instead being valued as people with their own rights and dignity. So, basically, yung female body exploitation is yung paggamit natin sa mga katawan ng kababahian sa pamamagitan ng to gain money or manipulate other people. Kasi basically, yung mga babae is they are seen as an object. For example, sa mga advertisement that basically women are more have the rule in the media. So yung mga babae is sila yung minsan nakikita sa lahat ng mga advertisement, sa mga some restricted na mga yung mga underrated na mga advertisement like mga alcohol. Usually mga models talaga is mga babae na nakahubad or mga very sensitive, and minsan yung mga babae is they're seen as some men are fantasies women because of their body. So yun yung female body exploitation is ginagamit yung katawan ng babae to gain money or manipulate other people, and they do this because they know that the women are more they make them fantasize or pinapantasya ng mga lalaki na kaibahan sa mga lalaki is as we all know, innate sa mga lalaki na they are more they have this attitude of very what they called maniac. So yan, yung mga lalaki is they fantasize woman's body in different aspects. So let's proceed on theoretical frameworks of gender theories in the Philippines. So we have the feminist theory. So feminist theory in the Philippines is characterized by intersectional approach linking gender issues with broader social, economic, and political struggles. It is deeply rooted in the country's historical and cultural context, addressing the unique challenges faced by Filipino women while advocating for transformative change. Through the efforts of activists, scholars, and organization, Filipino feminism continues to evolve, promoting gender equality and social justice and within the nation and beyond. In the Philippines, feminist theory combines gender issues with broader social, economic, political challenges. It's based on the country's history and culture, focus on specific difficulties of Filipino women they face. So activists and scholars work to bring about the meaningful change or aiming for gender equality and social justice nationally and globally. So basically, yung feminist theory, they're more focused on how women should face their struggle, and ito yung system na nagpabago sa lahat ng pananaw ng mga iba't ibang tao sa pagitan ng mga kababaihan. So yung feminist theory siya yung nagpabago sa sistema ng patriarchy, yung dominance ng mga lalaki. Yung feminist theory is siya yung nagpabago sa kung ano yung nakikita ng mga lalaki sa mga babae. So gaya ng sinabi ko noong panahon ng mga nung nakaraang panahon or yung mga kababaihan is wala silang karapatan para lumahok sa lahat sa politika or karapatan na bumoto kasi yun nga yung nagkaroon ng patriarchy. So yung feminist system, sila yung nagpabago sa sistema ng mga pananaw ng mga kalalakihan sa pagitan ng para ma-avoid natin yung para mawala sa isipan ng mga iba't ibang tao na ang mga kababaihan din ay may karapatang makilaok at may karapatang mabuhay or magkaroon ng kapangyarihan din sa ating lipunan. So there are feminist theorists and activists in the Philippines. So we have Gabriela Silang. Si Gabriela Silang, siya yung unang nagpatatag ng feminism dito sa Pilipinas. Siya yung kauna-unang kababaihan na nagsulong ng feminism dito sa Pilipinas. Gabriela Silang, Silang's life can be explored through various lenses of feminism theory, including intersectionality, resistant leadership, and representation. Her story also provides a powerful example of how women have historically navigate and challenge multiple forms of oppression. So basically, si Gabriela Silang yung nagpakita ng tunay na nagpakita ng karapatang pangbabae sa ating lipunan. Siya yung yung dahil sa kanyang story, isa siya sa mga tinitingalang feminism activist kasi because of through her leadership, doon siya nakilala at siya din yung kinilalang pinaka magaling na feminist theory dito sa Pilipinas. So the second one is we have Luwalhati Bautista. So Luwalhati Bautista's contributions to feminist theory and literature are significant, particularly in the context of Filipino society. Her novels serve as a powerful medium for exploring feminist theories, feminist theory themes, challenging patriarchal norms, and advocating for women's agency and empowerment. Through her work, Bautista not only provides critique in societal structures and oppressed women, but also celebrates their strength and resilience in the face of adversity. So, si Luwalhati Bautista naman is nakilala siya because of her literature and feminist theory. So, yung contribution niya sa feminism system is feminism theory is siya yung nag-focus siya sa literature because yung literature is doon nakita kung gaanong kung yung mga literature na ginawa niya is doon nakita na ang mga kababaihan ay doon nakita yung mga karapatan ng mga kababaihan nung panahon nung nakaraang panahon. Yung si Luwalhati ay nag-a-advocate siya sa mga kababaihan at siya yung nagsulong din ng isa sa mga nagsulong ng tinatawag na women empowerment. Si Luwalhati Bautista ay marami din siyang isinulat na mga nobela tungkol sa temang pangkababaihan. So let's proceed on the queer theory. Sa queer theory naman is queer theory in the Philippines, like many other parts of the world, examines the societal and cultural constructions of gender and sexuality. It seeks to deconstruct traditional narratives and challenges heteronormative structures. Queer theory in the Philippines, similar to elsewhere, looks at how society culture define gender and sexuality. It aims to break down traditional ideas and questions norms that assume heterosexuality as the standard. So sa queer theory naman is isinusulong dito yung mga other gender sexualities. So sa queer theory naman, kung sa feminism is more on lalaki at babae, which is yung babae sinusulong yung karapatan nila. Sa queer theory naman is pangkalahatan. So yung queer theory is focused on the other genders like the LGBTQIA+ na talagang isinusulong ng iba't ibang Pilipino dito sa Pilipinas. So ang layunin ng queer theory is to have equality din sa ating mga LGBT community. So isinusulong din nila yung tinatawag natin na SOGI Bill o yung sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. Yung bill na yon up until now is hindi pa sinusulong ng ating bansa kasi maraming against pa dito. So yung queer theory talaga is dito naman nagsimula yung pag-usbong ng mga iba't ibang pag-aaral sa iba't ibang intersexual or other sexualities. So layunin nito is to break down all the stereotypes then when it comes to other sexualities like yung nararanasan ng mga LGBTQ na gender discrimination, gender inequality, gender stereotyping na which is yung queer theory is yan naman yung nagbigay ng pagbabago ng sistema ng paniniwala ng iba't ibang paniniwala ng mga heterosexual na sinasabi na sila lang yung mas standard na sexual sila lamang ang mayroong karapatan na mabuhay or makilahok dito sa ating lipunan. Kung sa feminism theory is we have Gabriela Silang and Luwalhati Bautista. Sa queer theory naman is may mga activists din namang kilala. So we have the Filipino queer theorist. The first one is Danton Remoto. So Danton Remoto is a prominent Filipino writer, educator, and LGBTQ rights advocate. So he has significantly contributed with literature. As the founder of the chairperson of Ladlad, a political party advocating for LGBTQ plus and the rights in the Philippines. Remoto has been instrumental promoting the welfare of the LGBT Filipinos through political presentations and policy change. He has also been a public speaker, the media personality, and educator, teaching English and creative writing at Ateneo de Manila University. So, si Danton Remoto, siya naman yung nagpasulong ng sistemang queer theory dito sa Pilipinas. Siya yung nag-advocate at naging kilala siya bilang isang manunulat at isang educator dito sa Pilipinas. So marami din siyang nagawang notable na poetry gaya ng Skin Voices, Faces, and Black Silk Pajamas and as well as his novel Riverrun. So si Danton Remoto is through his impact na nakilala siya through figure the fight of LGBT rights in the Philippines, inspiring many through his contribution to literature and activism. So hindi lang siya isang advocate, isa din siyang aktivista na sumusulong ng LGBTQIA+ rights dito sa Pilipinas. So pangalawa naman ay si J. Neil C. Garcia. J. Neil C. Garcia is a respected Filipino author, poet, and professor known for his work in creative writing. So comparative literature and LGBTQ studies. With the background journalism and comparative literature and English studies, he currently teaches at University of the Philippines, Diliman, focusing on English and creative writing and comparative literature. Garcia has written poetry collection and literary criticism works and edited anthologies. His influential study on the Philippine gay culture and post-colonial Filipino poetics has garnered and national and international recognition through his award-winning contribution. Garcia has shaped the literary and academic landscape in the Philippines. So basically, si J. Neil C. Garcia, isa din siya sa mga sumulong or isa din siya sa mga founder ng Ladlad community. Ladlad community na pinamumunuan or chair with the pinamumunuan din ni Danton Remoto. So isa din siya sa mga tumulong na isulong yung organisasyon na yon para sa mga karapatan ng mga LGBTQ. So si J. Neil C. Garcia ay isa siya ding manunulat at isang poet at professor marami din siyang nagawang mga nagawang studies about the LGBT studies. So, nakapag-aral siya sa UP Diliman. So, yon, isa siya sa mga aktivista ng LGBTQIA+ at sumusulong ng pangkarapatan ng mga LGBT community.
Let's proceed on body image. Body image, it is the perception and attitude an individual has towards their own physical appearance. It encompasses how one see their own body and how they believe others perceive it. Positive or negative body image could significantly impact a person's mental and physical health. So basically, ang body image, ito yung perception or attitude ng isang tao kung paano niya tingnan yung sarili niya, specifically yung katawan niya. It encompasses how one see their own body and how they believe others perceive it. So, in simple terms, ang body image daw is yun nga paano natin tingnan ang sarili natin and paano tayo naniniwala sa sinasabi ng ibang tao sa atin, paano natin rini-receive or paano natin pinapaniwalaan. And positive or negative body image can significantly impact a person's mental and physical health. So, there are positive and negative impact sa iyong body image. And specifically in a mental and physical health. Kasi nga, if ever, for example, sa a negative way, if sasabihan ka ng tao na, ganito, pangit naman yan eh. So, magkakaroon ka ng low self-esteem. Hindi ka naniniwala sa sarili mo and parang negative din yung tingin mo sa sarili mo kasi nga yun yung perception ng ibang tao if pinapaniwalaan mo. If naman may magkaroon ka ng high self-esteem, kumbaga impact nun sa'yo is mabuboost yung confident mo. Kasi nga, if ever for example nasabihin din sa'yo ng ibang tao na napakaganda niya, grabe, yun nga, magkakaroon ka ng confidence sa sarili mo na i-express pa yung kung ano yung gusto mo kasi nga gusto din ng ibang tao na nakikita kang ganon, kumbaga nagagandahan kumbaga sa'yo yung mga ibang tao. So, nagkakaroon ka ng confidence sa sarili mo na i-express mo pa yung sarili mo kasi nga nagugustuhan yun ng ibang tao. But in a negative kasi na yun nga, nagkakaroon ka ng low self-esteem kasi people are not believing in you, kumbaga kung negative yung tingin sa'yo ng ibang tao. But it's always important to remember na hindi natin lahat pwedeng pakialaman kung yung ibang tao. What I mean is, hindi natin pwedeng pakialaman yung mga gusto ng tao or paano nila i-express yung sarili nila kasi nga self nila yan, di ba? Kumbaga, sarili nila yan. Wala tayong pakinabang or wala tayong ambag sa buhay nila kaya hindi natin dapat pakialaman yung mga gusto nila. Okay, so the fashion industry hypersexualized girls and women clothing. Wearing tights, extremely short, or revealing dresses are characterized by boldness. So, sa panahon ngayon, sa loob ng fashion, kumbaga sa fashion industry, minsan, yung mga babae is na hypersexualized. Kumbaga, nababastos sila because of their clothing. And there are kasi may mga tao na nagsusuot ng tight, kumbaga fitted, shorts, or any revealing dresses na nagpapasabi na, ay, boldness yan, kumbaga, ano yan, masamang babae yan kasi nga nagsusuot ng mga ganyang suot and hindi nila ma-express yung sarili nila because of that toxic society na iisipin ng ibang tao na pag nagsuot ka ng ganito ay ito masamang babae ka, ganyan. Hindi nila maipakita kung ano yung gusto nilang sabihin kasi nga hindi naman natin alam kung bakit sila nagsusuot ng ganun. So, bakit natin sila gina-judge? Importante kasi na alam natin na every one of us have a right to express their self, kumbaga kung anong gusto nila is free na i-express nila. Pero sometimes kasi yung sa society ngayon is hindi ma-express ng tao yung ano yung gusto niya or ano gusto niyang suotin kasi ngayon sinasabi ko na hypersexualize, na babastos yung mga ibang babae dahil sa kanilang suot. Then, advertisements show them wearing highly provocative dresses, makeup, and often age, inappropriate, hypersexual postures, and body language. So, di ba, in media, sa mga advertisement, makikita natin minsan na ang mga model noon ay ang mga babae. Ginagamit yung mga babae as a model. And makikita natin sila na nagsusuot sila ng mga provocative dresses, sobrang pagme-makeup, or sometimes kasi nagsusuot din sila ng mga revealing dresses na hindi appropriate sa edad nila. Like for example, if ever din na magsuot yung babae ng mga revealing, matandang babae na magsuot din ng mga revealing dresses, is i-judge siya ng tao kasi nga hindi yun appropriate sa kanya. Kumbaga, if ever kasi na magsusuot ka ng mga fashion or gusto mong suotin, dapat i-consider mo din yung edad mo, or if ever pwede ka ba sa ganito, or pwede ka bang magsuot ng ganito or mag-revealing. Kasi nga talaga, if ever yung matanda is magsuot ng ganun, i-judge na siya ng tao. Kumbaga, syempre, hindi yun appropriate sa edad niya. And sometimes rin, dahil sa mga advertisement na nakikita natin, is naka-hypersexualize yung mga babae dahil sa kanilang mga suot, sa kanilang mga body language. So, let's proceed on trying to keep up with the latest fashion. Often kids and parents become victims of these brands. Models, supermodel, beauty queens even delve reinforce and that idea that girls and women must have unrealistic beauty and figures. So basically, ang minimin lang dito is sa loob ng fashion, kumbaga, is nababago. May mga latest na fashion tayong nakikita, 'di ba? And not only the kids, but yung parents is victim din ng mga ganito. Like, kung mapapansin natin is yung mga parents natin is sumasabay din sila sa bago. Kumbaga, kung ano yung latest is binibili nila. Like, for example, di ba may tinatawag tayong buying disorder, na sakit yun na bili tayo ng bili kahit hindi naman natin nasusuot or nagagamit. So, hindi lang daw yung mga bata or young generation yung victim ng mga ganito. Pati mga parents natin is nakikisabay na sa mga uso. The models, supermodel, beauty queens daw, or even the doll, reinforce the idea that girls and women must have unrealistic beauty and figures. So, kahit yung mga model, mga supermodel, or even the doll, may mga nasasabi tayong negative sa kanila. Like, unrealistic yung beauty niya. Hindi yan totoo, kumbaga, na hindi naman natin alam kung ano talaga yung nangyayari, or ano ba yun nga, ano ba yung mga nangyari, is ginajudge na natin yung ibang tao na kasi nakita natin online, is sasabihin na lang natin na ganyan siya kasi nga yun yung nakita mo. Pero deep inside, hindi natin alam kung bakit niya ginawa yun, or bakit ganun siya, or yes. Fashion brands only target women customers but also price girls. Women product much higher than boys, and men product gender-based pricing is often referred to as a pink tax. So, ang fashion daw is, hindi lang target niya is yung mga women customers, kundi yung mga price girls din. And usually daw kasi, or kung mapapansin natin na yung mga suot ng pangbabae, yung mga product pangbabae is mas mahal kaysa mga panlalaki. And kung baga for me, agree ako doon na mas mahal talaga yung suot ng mga product pambabae kaysa panlalaki. And may tinatawag tayong pink tax. Sa pink tax kasi, ito yung pagiging unfair ng cost ng bayad, kumbaga, sa mga product na pambabae at panlalaki. Kasi nga, in terms of sa babae, marami tayong binibili, which is the mga makeup like that, and mahal talaga yung mga damit na pambabae. So, tinawag siyang pink tax kasi nga naging unfair daw siya, kasi nga lahat naman daw ng tao, babae o lalaki, sumusuot ng damit. Then, bakit mas mahal yung pambabae sa panlalaki? So, let's proceed on sexual debauchery. Sexual debauchery refers to excessive indulgence in sexual activities often considered morally or socially unacceptable. It implies a lack of restraint and can involve promiscuity, exploitation, or behavior that go against societal norms or personal ethics. So, basically, ang ibig sabihin ng sexual debauchery, ito yung pag-engage ng isang tao sa mga sexual activities. Sobrang pag-engage ng isang tao sa mga sexual activities na in a way na alam na nga nilang mali, wrong, kumbaga, at hindi acceptable sa society, is ginagawa pa rin nila. And minsan, kahit naman alam nilang mali na yun, ginagawa pa rin nila, and alam naman nila na kasalanan yun sa society, is still na ginagawa nila. And sometimes hindi yun nakokontrol kasi ng tao. Based on our research, may mga ganun talaga na tinatawag nating pleasure, babayabu sa ginawain miranotopsua. And extreme indulgence in bodily pleasure, sexual pleasure. So yun nga, just like what I'm saying kanina, na na-engage ng tao yung sarili nila sa mga ganun because of pleasure. Bodily pleasure, kumbaga na babaya erambu inutopsuwa ng tao. Pop culture represent gender sexuality that might be based more on stereotype than reality. So it means kung ano yung mga nakikita natin sa movie, TV shows, and music videos is yun, nagpapatunay yun, nakikita natin doon yung mga rules ng bawat isa, ng babae at ng lalaki. And minsan, binibase lang natin yon sa mga idea natin, not in a real life. For example, iniisip ng isang tao na men are always though and women are always fragile. Iniisip ng tao na pag babae, mahina, pag lalaki, strong sila. Which is mali yun, nasa stereotype natin sila or nadidiscriminate natin yung lahat ng gender. Kasi nga, iisipin natin na babae is mahina, tas ang lalaki is strong. Kumbaga, yung babae is sa bahay lang, then yung lalaki is siya yung sa work. Mali yun. Kasi nga, yung sinasabi ko kanina na everyone have a right to express themselves and may mga rights na tayo sa lahat ng opportunity. Kumbaga, alam naman natin talaga na minsan may mga bagay na lalaki lang yung nakakakaya. But, kailangan din natin i-consider na yung mga babae is may kaya lang sila. Kumbaga, equal lang tayo sa lahat. Then, women and their bodies have always been commodities and sources of pleasure and exploitation for patriarchal culture. So, yung sinasabi nila na commodities, ito yung parang tinitingnan natin yung babae as a object lang na ginagamit para sa pleasure ng isang tao. Kumbaga, yung babae is gamit lang. Yun yung perception ng ibang tao. Lalo na kapag yung culture or religion ng isang tao is dominated yung lalaki. Like for example, if ever na yung lalaki is dominated, he has the power na kontrolin yung babae, yung parang tingin lang na sa babae is gamit lang na kung anong gusto niyang gawin sa babae is pwede niyang gawin. Kasi nga, we are living in patriarchal society na kumbaga yung lalaki talaga yung mga nasusunod and yung babae is nag-o-obey lang sa kung ano yung gusto ng kanilang mga asawa. And dito nangyayari yung pagiging discrimination na yung babae is ginagamit lang for fun or for just like what I'm said kanina na for pleasure lang. And this view treats women as things to be owned and consumed rather than equal. So in that kasi parang nakikita natin na tinitreat lang yung babae kasi nga yun yung perspective nila na yung babae is para lang sa pleasure. Hindi nila tinitreat yung babae as a tao na kailangan i-respect kasi nga tao siya. Kasi nga iniisip natin ngayon sa we're living in a patriarchal society na pag babae is ginagamit lang sila ng mga lalaki, for example, just to for fun or advertisement. Then, television, films, commercial, and music videos, sexualization, and objectification of women became an increasingly growing trend. So, yung mga nakikita natin online sa television, films, mga like that, or even the music video na makikita natin talaga na yung mga nangyayaring sexualization is tumataas. Mainstream media has always used a false and unreal image of women, physical appearance, body image, behavioral standards, and beauty. So, ang mga nangyayari is yung nakikita natin sa social media or sa mainstream media is nakakakita tayo minsan ng mga false and unreal images. Like, hindi totoong physical appearance ng ibang babae. And minsan kasi hindi lahat ng nakikita natin online is totoo. May mga hindi natin alam na ay retoke pala yung babae like that. So hindi natin alam and wala din tayong right na i-judge 'yon. Today, across television, billboard, glossy pages of magazine and social media, we can see hypersexualized and unrealistic perfect female forms. So ngayon, nakikita natin through media, like sa mga magazine, is may mga naka-hypersexualize talaga na babae because of their kung ano yung pinapalabas nila. Basically kasi 'di ba, kung mapapansin natin na yung sa mga, for example, sa kalendar, minsan ginagamit nila yung babae as a model para sa advertisement, and like sa magazine may mga makikita tayo mga ganon na pinapakita nila as a model is yung mga babae. Then hindi lahat ng nakikita natin is always realistic. May mga unrealistic din na nakikita. Advertisement, music videos, and film dehumanize girls and women and portray them as a commodities. So just like what I'm saying kanina, na yung mga nakikita natin is hindi lahat totoo, and minsan ginagamit ng media yung babae as a commodities. For pleasure lang, for advertisement, and for fun. And that, nagkakaroon ng discrimination. Kasi nga, hindi naman binuhay lang yung babae just for that. Kumbaga, may rule din yung babae. And women bodies are used to sell everything from car, tires to entertainment. So basically, mapapansin natin ngayon nowadays, just like in sa TV shows, music videos, like that, is tumataas yung nag-i-increase yung pag-engage ng tao in a sexual way. Kumbaga, like, ginagawa nilang sexual yung mga advertisement para mas maingganyo or magkaroon ng parang yung babayaran sa ginawaran for pleasure lang yun. Then, this reinforced the idea that women's worth is mainly based on her looks and sexuality, and it is used to sell product or entertain people. So basically, ang minimin lang dito is, ang babae is tinitingnan lang natin or binibigyan lang natin sila ng worth because of their physical appearance, their beauty, or their looks. Like for example, di ba, if ever napangit ka, hindi ka din naman papansinin, di ba? Then if ever maganda ka, grabe yung treatment sa'yo ng ibang tao. Depende lang sa looks mo. Hindi na nila ngayon iniisip kung kumapya kay adult or not. Kasi nga, nagbe-base na yung tao sa physical appearance ng ibang tao. Then, it is used to sell product or entertain people. So kanina, paulit-ulit na sinasabi ko na yung babae is ginagamit lang as a pang-entertain ng ibang tao. Like for example, in sa mga car, and minomodel nila yung babae para iinganyo yung mga tao na bumili kasi nga model is babae. Yun.